Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today for another episode of In Conversation With. Our special guest today is Kelly, and she is the head of community at Newness, a live streaming platform for all things beauty. So I'll just bring her on so that she can share more about herself, the Newness platform, and how it all came together.
Sorry about that.
It was like my first time joining, and I didn't know how to invite people.
Oh my gosh. Well, first time for both of us then. That's totally cool.
Let me turn up the volume. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so thank you for being here today. How are you doing?
Good. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for hosting. This is going to be so much fun to talk.
Of course.
Let me just move you up a little bit. There we go.
Perfect.
Haha, I'm getting the hang of this. Wow, I have so much respect for our creators now who do this every single day. I'm like, the lighting and the layout and the whole thing. But,
Yeah.
we got it. We're good. Hi, friends.
So I guess before we do a deep dive into Newness, I'd love to hear more about yourself, prior roles at Glossier, and even modeling led you to Newness.
Yeah. Well, first off, hi, Raleigh. My friend Raleigh is in the chat, which is extra nice because she's on vacation right now. But yeah, so my current role is that I am head of community at Newness. So I work with all of the creators and moderators on the platform. Prior to joining the team here, most recently, I oversaw brand partnerships at Urban Outfitters. So worked with a lot of the brands under that umbrella to bring really special campaigns to life, and that was really fun. Prior to Urban Outfitters and where my career started and where I first got really involved in beauty was at Glossier, and I was at Glossier for about 3 years and started out in PR and wound up overseeing influencer marketing, and it was really fun.
So what is Newness? Can you tell me more about this platform?
Yeah, it's a for sure. Nudist is a live streaming platform for beauty content creators. So I've been on the team for a little over a year now, which is crazy to think about. And how I would describe it most is creators coming on and streaming about beauty and developing friendships with people in the chat. And it kind of is live streaming in the form of co-created content. So you have one creator who's hosting a live stream and they're streaming video and audio. And then the chat is right there along with them, encouraging them along, helping them pick out colors, just generally chatting and usually being a little bit chaotic, which is really fun. But I think it's become a really special place to me because I think a lot of beauty content creators in the last couple of years have kind of grappled with either social media and mental health or social media as it pertains to their ability to make a living wage off of their content and being a digital creative and whatnot. And I'm really proud that over the last few months especially, we've heard from our community that Newness really feels like a safe space that's kind of away from that. Hi, Alex. And that because there's, other like-minded people where there's a pre-established common interest across everybody who's on the platform, it feels really safe and welcoming when you first hop on. So it's not as scary as oh, I'm going to go live and will anybody tune in? It's kind of well, I'm going to come on and have fun and do this weird thing that I'm really excited about, which is great.
Would you say it was kind of the inspiration behind how Yuri and Jenny felt they were just for beauty community, and that was how it began?
Yeah, I think a story that kind of always sticks out in my brain, and not to speak on their behalf at all either, but something that I always think of is when I was really early in my conversations with Jenny and Yuri, who are our co-founders. They're our CEO and CTO, respectfully. I love them very much. I think what really stood out to me was a story that Jenny told me about looking across the room and not seeing very many people that kind of looked like them, that they related to, and kind of locking eyes with one another between Jenny and Yuri and being oh, like we have something in common here in addition to gaming. And so I think their ability to understand that when you're live and it's about kind of the journey and people being tuned in as you're making mistakes or working through something or just talking, or even when you're not really doing a whole lot of anything, that it's, you know, the magic in what the journey is as opposed to what the end result is, what is really inspiring to me and what stood out from our first conversations all the way through now.
That's great. Yeah, like I know there are like already a lot of platforms out there already that have like the video capability, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. So Newness kind of stands out in that aspect where you have a creator who goes on and says, okay, I'm going to do this. If you're interested, you could join me and like talk, like interact with me while I'm like in the process of doing my makeup.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's something about like how casual it is that like also brings people together because it feels relatively low stakes. It's like I'm just hanging out. I would be doing this anyway. Might as well come along and hang out. And I think a lot of where it gets really fun is where you see communities develop like inside jokes with one another. And that's been really cool to see because that kind of like fuels the community forward as well. So we had a creator, Alex, I think, do a stream on Laguna Beach, and now there's like a joke about one of the actors who's like long running on the platform. And I think seeing people develop, you know, those little interests or having them come out in that way has been really fun to see.
Yeah, like yesterday, I actually went on to watch Molly Glosses.
Yay!
It was like so fun watching her like draw the rainbow on her, and then like midway through, she's like, "I don't like it," and then she like wiped it off.
Oh my gosh, when she wiped it off, my heart sank. Well, that's like a perfect example. We both saw that and had the same experience. And I was watching Molly and I was listening, and Molly and I are actually friends over like years and years and years, and she's done my makeup in person before, and I know how extremely talented she is. So I was so excited to see her do it on herself, and I was like cooking dinner, and then all of a sudden I heard Molly like reading out the chat, and I turned around and the makeup was like gone, and I was like, no, but it turned out beautiful. She did such a great job.
Yeah, like I know like after she like wiped off, do you like the blue one with just without the blue? And I was like, oh, she picks the blue.
You've got to get in the chat. You've got to like hop in and like voice your opinions. Yeah, we just came out with a really fun feature where a moderator can drop a poll in the chat, and it will also show up like in the stream as well. So people can vote on different things. And I think that's a really fun way to kind of like help a creator along as they're like making a look or trying something new for the first time. So you can vote like, do you want to see blue? Do you want to see red? Which one do you want to be? And it makes it really interactive and kind of makes the audience feel like they're co-hosting this party that the creator is streaming about.
Yeah, I think I saw one of the moderators drop in the product she was using. So if others were interested in like buying or more information, they could just click in.
Yeah, that was Sarah. Her handle's Winston. So moderation is a huge part of the platform, and it's something I'm really excited I get to work on. I think people naturally, and if anybody has thoughts on moderation, please drop them in the chat. I would love to hear if you like have experiences with it. But I think people inherently like hear moderation and they think like trust and safety, or like, oh no, something bad is going to happen. And in reality, the moderators that are on Newness, we have a couple of global moderators and a lot of volunteers as well. They're so fantastic at like really being there and being supportive. So moderators will drop product links. They will keep the conversation going. They'll encourage the creator to keep going. They kind of wear a lot of different hats, and they really make the community feel safe in terms of like making sure nothing bad happens, but also safe in terms of like encouraging them and being a positive force as well.
That's great. That like also like just answered my question, because I was going to ask you like as the head of community, are you ensuring a space for your creators to make content without feeling pressured or like any?
Yeah, exactly. Moderation is a big part of that. And I think in general, another big part of it is the precedent that creators have set on the platform. So most people who are streaming have maybe checked out a stream previously, and they know the ethics of the community. And how open and welcoming we are, and how we always try and turn things into a conversation. And creators have felt pretty safe to like be pretty vulnerable on the platform. And I think that really speaks volumes in terms of, you know, we're starting to build like a really cool house, but I think in the way that creators are filling it up and using it and supporting one another and encouraging things along, is something I'm really grateful for as well.
Yeah, I think like we talked about this a bit, but we were talking about how like the beauty industry, they all, like had this kind of like perfect image for people, and everything was like poreless and like no flaws, and that was kind of like the ideal that we had to like work ourselves and compare it. That was kind of like a really, I wouldn't say like negative, people feel like unsafe and vulnerable in a sense. So to be able to space where you feel like have all the acne that you want, still celebrate it and it's great.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And I think that's also some of the fun of live is that it is unfiltered. So I think that kind of something that's so important in the beauty industry, which like is transparency. When something's live, you don't really have anything that you can hide behind necessarily. Hi, Nicole, who's one of our creators who just joined. Oh my gosh, I'm having such a hard time not like saying hi to everybody as I'm seeing familiar names hop in, which is so great. But I think in general, it's been really, really cool to see people not just like be comfortable being authentic and not have it be about like, oh, like this has to be poreless, this has to be airbrushed, which in live you just can't have. And I think that's a really incredible part of it. But it's not just in how like they're showing up with that, but also with the stories that they're telling. So obviously there's like the visual aspect of it, but what creators are comfortable talking about and the questions that they're willing to answer, I think means a lot to their peers. It means a lot to us. And I think it really has the potential for huge impact as well across the industry.
So what do you feel beauty means to Newness?
What do I feel beauty is to Newness? Is that the question? Ooh, that's a good one. I think it's tricky. I think I personally have a hard time with the word beauty, and I almost think that like what we always say is that beauty is a conduit. So beauty to Newness is essentially kind of not the means to an end, but it's what brings people together on the platform. So it's the common interest that everybody comes on with. And then from there, that's where like deeper connections come from and whatnot. So it's kind of the feeling of like when you're all clamoring around a mirror, like back when we could hang out with your friends and get ready for like a big fancy dinner or a big night out. I think similarly on Newness, that's what the chat feels like, and how important it is like to discover that you use the same eyeliner as someone who lives across the country and isn't your age and you wouldn't have connected with otherwise. So I think to Newness, beauty is really the conduit to deeper connections and more authenticity.
That's great. So I guess like my other question, beauty has always been like a interactive process of buying beauty, but with the pandemic, it kind of like changed all that and brought everything virtual. People were no longer watch it in store or like try the shade. What do you like? What are your thoughts on this, and what do you think the future of beauty?
Yeah, I was actually, it's so funny because I don't know if you heard, but we were talking about this a little bit on Molly's stream, or I was trying to get her to like commit to an answer because Molly is such a great like trend forecaster. But I think, and this was my personal experience as well, is that while the last year has been incredibly traumatic and really hard for so many people, it was also the quietest that my life has personally been. And so I was able to do a lot of self-reflection and a lot of thought, and just kind of like, you know, was forced to like sit in terms of like what I want and what I'm interested in, as opposed to what was being validated by like my friends or my family when I was spending more time with them in person. And I think that applies to beauty and trends as well. Like I know personally, I got much more specific with my skincare routine because I was able to like do independent research and like look around a little bit more and spend more time there. And I tried a lot more different makeup that like I maybe wouldn't have tried anymore. And so I kind of feel like coming out of this year and thinking about seeing friends again, going to dinners, going to parties, I feel like I have much more options because I kind of did like mini dress rehearsals in my apartment when I could embarrass myself or like break out or not get something perfect the first time. And now it's kind of like I am ready to go. So I think the trend is going to be more like, I think people are going to get pretty wild. I think that like for makeup specifically, I think euphoria inspired makeup has kind of become the like catch-all term, but like I hope people keep getting weird with it. Like let's, you know, do glitter and fun eyeliner and all of that. That's what I get really excited about. So fingers crossed for that.
I think it will definitely happen for like especially Pride Month.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think this Pride Month is going to be insane. Well, hopefully. I want it to be. I want it to be really fun. We all deserve that. We in the LGBT plus community deserve that. Yeah.
I are both here, and it's been pretty lively and safe, I'd say.
That's so good to hear. That's so nice. Yeah, that's great.
So, what's next for Newness?
What's next for Newness? I mean, I think we're super excited to continue to grow our community and continue to do that in a really thoughtful way. For right now, anybody who's interested in joining or streaming on Newness can go to newness.com/creators and sign up. And I think we're excited. It's not like invite only. We're just going to work with you one-on-one. It's not like a weird thing. But you can learn more about like what it means to join the community and what our like true initial community stands for there, which is great. And I think we're excited to continue to develop that and continue to lean into it and learn from our creators over the next couple of months and, you know, continue to grow and add new faces and explore new types of content and, you know, really explore moderation and all of those things and just keep learning. It's been really fun. So want to keep on that path.
All right, so I guess that will be it. I thank you for Kelly, and I hope to see more Newness on and vice versa.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.